Hello again, everyone. Edwin Learnard back once again. In this YouTube segment, I'm going to be talking about something that I find really unsettling and interesting, has been talked about pretty frequently lately. The riots in Baltimore. Now, I think when I look at this, my thoughts on this expand a lot more than just the specifics regarding the riots that are taking place or have taken place in Baltimore. Now, this is something where we're looking at volatile actions that are the result of protestations that were against something that is truculent or volatile, at least in the minds of these people that are doing it. What started out as something that was peaceful and tranquil as far as protests go, unfortunately escalated into something much worse, and there's businesses have been ravaged, buildings and structures have been damaged because of fires, looting. I look at this, is this a way to resolve something as far as you're in disagreement with the way law enforcement may have handled something because you think you don't maybe even have 100% irrefutable evidence on it, but because you're speculating and you're thinking that there was excessive force used. Now, this came shortly after the death of a black gentleman named Freddie Gray, who, according to a family attorney, quote unquote, had 80% of his neck severed. Now, that's just from that one quote, okay. Now, is this really the way to find resolution and try to put an end to things that people think are volatile or violent, that are unnecessary? So you're going to wind up going into your own community, causing all this destruction, devastation, causing harm to journalists, reporters, policemen, because people, when this goes on, all this is about is escalation. Violence is just going to promote more violence. This is not the way to resolve things. I mean, there were businesses that have been completely, or maybe not completely dismantled, but have been strongly or at least very close to completely dismantled, and you have businesses that are disheveled due to the looting. People are breaking laws due to the fact that they thought there was maybe a moral code that may have been broken, or some law in their mind was broken. And it's just really, it's contradictory BS is the only thing I can look at for it. If by some chance these people were right, that they felt that the excessive force used against Freddie Gray and perhaps other black men, even if this was true, it's kind of like the two wrongs don't make a right theorem, I think applies here very strongly. On the positive side, there are people that are joining forces collectively in the community that are cleaning up this mess, and I'm just wondering how many people that have caused this damage are actually, they're thinking about this and they're really ruminating over this and thinking about that their actions were negative. Are they lauding themselves privately? I really hope that the police do whatever they can to apprehend these people that committed these heinous acts. I guess a lot of it's going to be dependent upon videotape evidence and how much of this evidence do they have that maybe they could corroborate through eyewitnesses and videotape, as far as getting the people that were the cause of these riots, that have caused it, as far as the destruction goes. That's what I think is going to be very interesting, to see how many people are they actually going to be able to arrest because of, and how many have been arrested up till right now. Now, in this, a state of emergency being declared over this in Baltimore, Maryland. They even have a compulsory curfew that has been imposed from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. because of this. I believe there was something connected with the NFL team, the Baltimore Ravens, that I believe has been canceled because of this. There was some speculation on a Baltimore Orioles game perhaps being canceled in due to what's happening here. Now, this is something obviously very deplorable, and when this happens, I mean, people have to realize and be cognizant of the fact that this is going to be shown on social media. There's going to be younger people watching a lot of this, impressionable people, and they may, at least on a subconscious level, on some of these people, if not conscious, replicate maybe these actions in their mind, in thinking that maybe this is a way to find reconciliation to problems, instead of just, what I don't understand is, if something like this started out as peaceful, why couldn't it just maintain a peaceful level during these protests? Isn't there a way that the community can actually sit down with law enforcement and talk things over like civilized adults, instead of just becoming barbaric and ballistic over a matter? I mean, you talk about chaos and tumult. In this situation, I mean, what's happened is really epitomizes that, to say the least, and that's an understatement. I just hope that this isn't a harbinger of things to come, and that this isn't going to escalate as far as other communities in the United States and perhaps the world. I mean, there is enough violence in the world anyway. There's enough wars going on. There's enough people that are perishing unnecessarily due to what I believe in many instances, unnecessary violence, unnecessary things of a combative nature. People need to join their forces and be forceful among trying to find peaceful resolutions to situations like this, not allowing things to ascend or escalate to get out of control in the manner that this has. To me, I mean, I'm not here to debate whether if this is something that if the law enforcement themselves were prejudiced or they had animosity against another race. We don't really know that. I don't think we can really say and ascertain whether they were one way or another. We just know the situations that went down with black men in recent time, and I think with the conclusion many people have come to is that there was excessive force maybe used on these people, but it doesn't prove that it was because that these people were of a different race. Now, if these people were white, I don't know if we could say 100% either way whether these people would have been alive today or not. Maybe they would have, maybe they would, maybe they wouldn't have. But the point is, to do these things, riots, ravage areas over something that you believe is excessive force, you're just basically, when people do this, it's kind of like the pot calling the kettle black. You're something that you're condemning. You're, in essence, you're condoning in your own way by doing these things. The things that you're trying to control, you're actually escalating. And really, especially in an era of social media where things are so scrutinized and watched so strongly, I mean, it's just terrible that we have to actually witness and see these things. Now, I understand there's no perfect person in the world, there's no infallible person, but please, come on, this is really ludicrous what actually has taken place in Baltimore, Maryland. I think it probably makes some people ashamed that they're even residents of that city. I mean, really. we hear so many killings, and we hear shootings. I mean, and just violence in general in the news. I just wonder, is it ever going to come to an end? Are we going to have to keep watching these things and hearing about these acts that are just completely lamentable, things that really shouldn't be tolerated, calling on a state of emergency, contacting the National Guard? The U.S. President has even done whatever he can to get people to help over there in Baltimore. The curfew, I believe up to 5,000 law enforcement people are basically ready to go over and help. Up to 5,000, I believe. Mayor Christie, I don't know if it's Governor Mayor or Governor Christie or Mayor Christie of New Jersey. I'm sorry, I forgot which one he is. He is even, I believe, at least attempted to send people over to Baltimore, Maryland, to help these people. So, I mean, we hear so much negativity in the media, scurrilous actions that really are abhorrent, and yet we have to hear this. This is kind of like adding insult to abject misery. And what's terrible about this is that this is something that was just so unnecessary too. I think what we have to look at, and I hope a lot of the people that have caused these fires and riots in Baltimore are sitting down and they're thinking about what they've done, and knowing that what they've done is wrong and it's heinous, and that really people should be coming up now with solutions to these kind of issues and take preventive measures to make sure these things are held at least to a bare minimum. You probably won't be able to ever stop these actions completely, but whether it's getting more law enforcement issues, greater interaction between the community and law enforcement, what have you, but these measures need to be taken so to diminish these things from happening again, or or at least diminishing these types of events from happening. And if you have racial tension, it makes it very, very hard. If racial tension is involved in this, then obviously that makes it that much harder, I believe, to control. Well, anyway, people, that will conclude this YouTube segment on my take on the riots in Baltimore. And until next time, people, Edwin Learnard saying, stay well.